Alright, Kia, so really quick explanation of how to set yourself up with D&D Beyond. First thing you'll want to do is create a profile if you haven't already. You can either do that with register or sign in. And you can create an account. I did it through Twitch, so I sign in with Twitch. Once you've finished making your profile, you should see your profile name pop up here in the upper right hand corner, at which point you can go up to it and you'll want to click on Characters. On the Characters page, you can see the different characters that you've made. With a free D&D Beyond account, you can have up to 6 characters. I currently have 3 made. And in the upper right hand corner, you'll see there's a Create a Character icon right here. So we're going to go ahead and click that and make a character. Create a character. You will probably want to just go with Standard.
Didn't have a chance to say that one.
And you'll want to make your character's name. So we'll name him Jim
I altered
Bob.
nothing.
I don't know.
Yay.
After we finish making Jim Bob, we're going to go ahead and turn off Homebrew,
Holy shit, that cooldown.
Magic the Gathering, and Eberron content. We're just going to go with very standard, plain old stuff. Okay. This allows you to do like add-on stuff for making your character, but we're not going to worry about that. Advancement type. There are 2 different types of advancement. You can either do Milestone or XP. We're going to do Milestone. XP works exactly how you're familiar with XP working in games. You kill monsters, you get XP. Milestone just means you meet X objective, you reach this level. Hit point type. We're just going to go with Fixed. Fixed versus manually means that if you wanted to do manually, each time you leveled up, you would have to roll a die to figure out how much HP you gained as you leveled up. So just go with Fixed. Makes things easier. Don't worry about this. For the sake of your character, go ahead and say no encumbrance. Encumbrance just means that if you're carrying, for example, 300 pounds of material as a halfling, it would mean that you wouldn't be able to move as fast and you'd have disadvantage on stuff because you're carrying a crap load of stuff. But we're not going to worry about that for now. This should all be fine like this. We're going to go ahead and go to the next section.
Oh, great. I thought you were going to keep going.
Yeah. This is where you can choose your race. There are lots of different races, and within the races there are sub-races. If you have any questions about the race, when you click on it, it will tell you a little bit about the race, what bonuses you get, tells you a little bit about what they're like, and tells you like additional bonuses that you get from being that character. For now, let's just make a good old classic human. We'll choose this race. We get to choose a language now. We're just going to go ahead and say that our human is able to speak Common, and let's say that this human lived nearby a dwarven settlement, so they're also fluent in Dwarvish. Okay? Go ahead and go next. Now we choose a class. You can choose from any of these classes. You click on a class and it tells you a little bit more about what they're like. You can learn about these different classes yourself, just kind of looking at them and learning about what they do. If you have any questions about classes, feel free to ask me or one of the others that's familiar with Dungeons & Dragons. For now, we're just going to make our guy a fighter. Proficiencies are just things that your character is especially good at. There are ability checks in the game that check and see if you succeed at doing something. So for example, let's say that I tell the dungeon master that my character vaults over a table. Okay? My dungeon master might say, okay, make an acrobatics skill check. If I am proficient in acrobatics, that means that I get a little bit of a bonus when I have to roll to see if I succeed at vaulting over that table. So that's what proficiencies are. It's just stuff that your character is exceptionally good at. So let's just say athletics and intimidation, because they're a fighter. Fighting style. Let's just say that our character is awesome at great weapon fighting. Okay, and each time you choose a different proficiency, and keep in mind these categories will be different depending on what type of character you choose, but they explain themselves pretty well. Once you've finished choosing all the different stuff here, go ahead and move on to the next section. Now these are ability scores. We're going to do point buy. If you remember, I said we were doing a 27 point buy system. And this tells us how many points we have remaining in our point buy system, since we're doing 27. 27 points is enough to, for example, if you wanted to do 15 strength, 15 constitution, and let's say our fighter is actually dexterous. Let's say that our fighter is unusually dexterous.
Into it.
You can see the point buy system gives us enough points to be able to put 3 abilities at level 15 and 3 abilities at level 8. Or we could have 13, 13, 13, 12, 12, 12. That's an example of another way that you can do it. You start off at 8 on all of these, and you can organize it however you want to. Each time that you go to put more points into something, the more expensive it'll get. So you'll notice that from 8 to 9, it's minus 1 point. From 9 to 10, it's minus another point. 10 to 11, minus another point, so on and so forth. However, once you start to hit 14, it's minus 2 points. And then from 14 to 15, it's minus another 2 points.
Oh, Corky, you bitch!
So, choose wisely. Generally, most people do 15 in 3 and 8 in the others. You can also average them out. And those determine your modifiers in each of the skills. Modifiers determine how much of an advantage you get on dice rolls. So most rolls you have to roll a d20, meaning a 20-sided die. And depending on what you're rolling for, you get a bonus from your modifiers. So for example, talking about
shit. It's been a while, Greg, but I've still got a couple of tricks up my
vaulting over
sleeve.
that table again.
You're silver 4, man!
Yeah!
Acrobatics is based on dexterity.
Oh shit, that's awesome.
So from our dexterity, we get a +3 to that. So that means that if we rolled a 10, we would say that we actually got a 13 on our acrobatics. Although, well, once you see the acrobatics, you get the idea. Notice that having a low score means that your modifier receives a penalty. So if you rolled a 10 for an intelligence check, you would instead get a 9. Let's go ahead and move on, now that we've explained point buy. If that wasn't explained very well, feel free to ask me. Background. This is simply helping you get into your character. It also does help determine how much money you start with, or how people are going to act around you. For example, if your background is that you're a criminal or a spy, you'll be dressed accordingly. You'll have the amount of money that would reflect a criminal or a spy. And based on how you look and how you act, being a criminal spy, people might treat you differently. For example, if you go into a city and try to talk to a member of the Thieves Guild, they might be more inclined to talk to you because you have that look about you of being a criminal. Whereas if you go to try and talk to the governor of a town, he might be less inclined to talk to you or think ill of you because you look like a criminal. So this is one of the point side of things.
Ashton, what's her name right there?
This stuff, similarly, this doesn't have any effect on the game. This is just stuff that is for role-playing. So, for example, let's say that I took the Dragon Chess set. At one point my character dies. I could discuss with the DM and play out a scene where the Grim Reaper comes to collect my soul, and I challenge him to a game of chess in exchange for my soul. That's an example of, this is simply for role-playing. You can add or remove traits that are also involved in role-playing.
Damn, she flashed.
You can choose your alignment. Alignment just determines how you would expect your character to act, their morals. I can explain more about that if you're curious. Lifestyle explains how much money you tend to spend on average to keep up how you live. Physical characteristics, pretty straightforward. Personal characteristics, pretty straightforward.
Oh.
Notes is where you can add notes about different things. Again, this section is all about role-playing. Since this is a one-off, you don't need to worry about filling this whole section in. You just generally want to get a general idea of how your
Oh,
character
she wasn't
will
close
act.
enough to it. I thought she
But it's
was.
fun to kind of fill out your character, decide what type of character you're going to have. Lastly, equipment. I would recommend just choosing equipment.
Oh, looks like the GG's, boys.
Choosing gold just means that it gives you starting gold and you get to purchase the items that you want to have. Equipment makes it so that it gives you suggestions for equipment that you start with, you just pick it. So let's say chainmail. Say we fight with a battle axe and a shield. And let's say that we take a Dungeoneer's pack. Okay, and starting equipment. Don't worry about attuned magic items, that's not important right now. I'll explain it when that comes up ever. And you're done.
I didn't know I could get out of that, actually.
Now you can
I
do your
didn't
character
either.
sheet.
That's why I was laughing.
And there's
He's like,
Jimbo.
alt, and you're like, nah, just gonna go over here.
Now keep in mind, for your character you will want to make sure that you have your stuff equipped. So for example, I want to say that I have my battle axe, my chainmail, and my shield equipped. And you'll see that my AC pops up accordingly. AC meaning armor class. We'll explain about all of these different things when we go to actually start our session for the first time. We'll do a little tutorial. Anyways, that concludes making a character.